I have to laugh. This is the least scary episode I have in my arsenal. And this is the one that falls on the day that I can record in the daytime. Like, that's the proper definition of the luck of the Irish. If we didn't have bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. Disney princesses were not just cartoons. For some of us growing up, they were like big sisters. Cinderella taught us to know our worth. Jasmine taught us to speak our mind, but Ariel, jeez, if I could will anyone into existence, it would have been Ariel. But while doing the research on the subject, I've come to realise the potential danger that mermaids would face if they did exist today. And it wouldn't be from the creatures of the deep, but from us. Despite our perception of being kind and considerate, we often make impulsive decisions without regard for others or the consequences of our actions. Most mythical accounts depict mermaids as non-threatening creatures, and the belief that they're hazardous actually stems from the myth of the sirens, distinct creatures from Greek mythology. It's believed that their predecessors, the sea nymphs and tridents, were influenced by an ancient mermaid goddess, Atagatis, who dates back to around 1000 BC and was revered throughout the Mediterranean Sea. The sea nymphs were beautiful young women who watched over the Mediterranean Sea, often accompanying the sea god Poseidon or Neptune, and providing aid to sailors in distress. On the contrary, the sirens were initially depicted as bird women who evolved into more mermaid-like beings, but they used their enchanting voices to lure sailors towards treacherous rocks by the shore, leading to shipwrecks and casualties. To my surprise and delight, there have been more mermaid sightings than I expected, with Scotland serving as a compelling illustration of human impulsiveness and recklessness, but we are not here to judge. Centuries ago, tales of mermaids dwelling along the Ayrshire coast were widespread. They were believed to spend their days submerged in the waters and emerge under the moonlight to enhance the shores with their melodious songs. In proximity to the coastline, the House Knockdolion, a sturdy stone castle, overlooked the waters of Garvan, adorned with a prominent black rock at its edge. This location held particular significance for one lone mermaid. She would frequent the spot to serenade and groom herself. The castle was abuzz with jubilation, as the lady of the house gave birth to a long-awaited heir, assuring the continuation of the family legacy. Initially, the newborn slumbered so peacefully, accompanied only by the tranquil lull of the ocean tides. However, after a month had passed, piercing cries shattered the nocturnal silence, vexing the entire castle. Despite the lady's concerted efforts, the cause of the disturbance remained elusive. It wasn't until one fateful night that the nurse caught a glimpse of the mermaid. Perched upon the large black stone, her haunting melody carried by the wind, unsettling the infant. With steely resolve, the lady of the house demanded, "Let her find a stain elsewhere. The morrow, go down to the stain with all your best tools, and don't come back until nothing remains of it." So the staff did as commanded, and they obliterated the stone, hoping to compel the mermaid to seek an alternative haunt, granting the household respite. As the mermaid resurfaced in her customary spot the following night, she was met with nothing but the remnants of her favourite seat and a solitary pickaxe, silently testifying to the lady's unwavering resolve. Bearing a scornful glare, the mermaid uttered a curse. "You may think on your cradle, I'll think on my stain, and there'll never be an heir to Knockdolion again." And then she left. For a brief respite, the castle slumbered peacefully, until one night, a fierce storm awakened everyone in the castle with an ungodly howling wind. Everyone, that is, except the infant. When the lady's nurse went to check on the baby, she found the crib overturned and the baby motionless underneath. In the following 2 years, the lady had 2 more babies each year, but each only lived a few hours. Then tragically, the lord of the house passed away suddenly after returning home from a hunting trip. The heartbroken widow, devastated by the loss of her children and later her husband, succumbed to grief and fell gravely ill. She slipped away in her sleep, leaving the once lively and bustling castle to decay into ruins, with no surviving descendants to inherit it. The family name faded into obscurity, just as the mermaid's curse had predicted. Today, the haunting remnants of Knockdolion Castle loom in silence, only the gentle murmur of the waves against the shore breaking the stillness in the night. In certain parts of Scotland, the mermaid is actually regarded as one of the fairy folk, capable of granting wishes if captured. Legend has it that a man once seized a mermaid sitting on a rock. Despite her protests, he held her tightly until she promised to grant him 3 wishes. After expressing his desire for health, wealth and prosperity, the mermaid ensured that his wishes would be granted. When he released her, she disappeared into the sea. As a result, the man's farm thrived. He lived a long and healthy life, and he never suffered any illness. However, those who encounter a mermaid or disturb her cherished resting place should exercise caution, as the consequences could be vastly different, especially if you think you've caught a mermaid, but you've actually caught something far worse. I just have to laugh. This is the least... There is nothing more terrifying than hearing the pitter-patter of tiny feet less than an hour after you put your kids to bed. That is what's scary.